Thanksgiving is undoubtedly the busiest travel week of the year, and you will find dozens of apps claiming to help navigate you better. Tech expert Dave Hatter says, be wary. Even the top 10 travel apps are loaded with security issues. Well, you're the bear. You're the Grinch already.
You know, Kara, it seems like I'm always the bearer of bad news.
Okay,
I always feel bad about this stuff.
Well, I'm trying to find a positive spin, but today we may not find one. So what's the report out about these travel apps?
Well, Blue Box Security is a company that evaluates these kind of things. Then they went out and they took a look at the top 10 travel apps in the iOS and the Android Google Play Store.
Okay.
And found that they're all full of all kinds of various security bugs and basically warned people you probably should not use these things at this point. And they highlighted a whole bunch of problems. Some of them are really technical, but probably the single biggest problem is that the applications don't really use encryption to store your data correctly, so that if someone can either steal the phone or possibly even have another malicious app on the phone that says, if you have Travelocity, and I'm not pointing the finger at them, I'm just throwing out a name people will know, oh, look, you have Travelocity on this phone, I'm going to steal your data. And I think people often underestimate how much data these travel apps might have in them, bank account information, all kinds of sensitive information about you, your itineraries, that sort of thing. So there's a lot more sensitive information in these things than a lot of people realize, and thus sets you up for potential problems.
And you're saying sometimes creators can focus so much on making it jazzy and appealing to users that they don't necessarily rank security as a top priority.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with a lot of software, Kara, unfortunately. Security sometimes is a sort of an afterthought. They don't really go into it with security foremost in mind because, of course, if no one ever uses the thing, who cares?
Right.
So, you know, they're trying to focus on how can they make it as simple as possible, how can they make it cool, easy to use, make you want to use it, and sometimes some of these other more important factors that are kind of behind the scenes that you wouldn't really see as a regular person don't really get the attention they deserve, so they get glossed over because they're trying to rush stuff to market and get up a user base of these things out there.
Speaking of rushing things to marketing, you say sometimes because they're working on this and trying to get it out there, programming cannot be taken out. Explain this.
Well, as someone who's, I'm not saying I've ever done this, but
okay.
I've put a lot of code in just trying to test stuff, you know? So a lot of times developers will put in special logic so when a certain thing happens they can see what's going on, and then they forget to take that stuff out.
Oops.
Or yeah, which leaves holes in the application that can potentially be exploited by a hacker. And another similar problem is, again, you're trying to rush this stuff out, you're trying to maximize your profit with minimal work, so you're using all kinds of open source third-party libraries. So you and I might be building competitive apps, but a lot of the stuff under the hood is the same, and if any of those libraries have problems in them, well then your app's going to have that too. So again, I don't necessarily want to point the finger at any one because the company that did this research has not released any names. And this is not exclusive to the travel app space. A lot of mobile apps have these kind of problems. IBM has done a study on this, and there have been many others on different categories, but they don't necessarily focus on how can you make sure that security is key. And as soon as one of these things gets hacked in a major way, then I think you'll see it all over the place, and they'll take it seriously.
You said update, update, update.
Yeah, that's a great rule for any kind of software, whether it's on a mobile phone, a tablet, a PC, Mac, or whatever. Hopefully, as a result of this study, the people who make these apps will take this seriously and they'll start to update the apps. So yeah, if you are going to use any kind of mobile app, and especially an app that has any kind of sensitive information in it, update it as frequently as possible when the updates come, because typically they'll be fixing these kind of things. It's in their best interest to do so.
Okay, our tech expert Dave Hatter says steer clear of these travel apps for now. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
I would not be using one of those at this point based on this study.
Are you traveling this holiday season?
I am not. So it doesn't really matter, Kara.
You're safe then. We know that for sure.